So the question is, what would an AFL Magic Round in both New South Wales and the ACT look like? What teams would play there, what venues would be used, what times, days, and so on. More will be explained in this video as we look at what would an AFL Magic Round look like if it was held in New South Wales and the ACT. So without further ado, let's get into it. So let's start off with the venues. I've gone through Oz Stadiums and found many different venues in New South Wales and also the ACT that could hold games for the Magic Round when it comes to New South Wales. And, you know, potentially the ACT, they might combine it because they do have a league called the New South Wales/ACT Footy League. And yeah, I reckon they will combine it again. Just a quick reasoning there, but without further ado, we'll get into the venues now. So with the venues, I'll get a quick map up here for different venues around New South Wales and the ACT. So here's all the venues that I've come up with. Now, there are just two main things you want when choosing the right venues to play Magic Round games. One, we want a venue within the Sydney and Canberra region, so that might cross off majority of grounds on this list. And two, grounds must be a good sized oval or have a reasonable capacity for the two teams playing there. So I'll put them into different tiers called least likely, even chance, and very likely of grounds that will feature in the Magic Round. So here's what I've come up with. So short and simple, that's it for the venues. Let's go into the custom fixture that I've made for this round. So we're going to kick things off on the Thursday night at 7:50 p.m. in Canberra. So we're going to start at Manuka Oval on the Thursday night. And this one, I'm going to go with the Giants and the Eagles to start off Magic Round. Now, my guess is that GWS and West Coast still won't have the greatest list in this side leading up to this game and this round. So I'll chuck these two together on the Thursday night in Canberra. And not to mention the Giants already have a home deck there at Manuka Oval, and West Coast have the most members in Australia, so it could be a big crowded game. Like, I would not be surprised if they packed out the capacity for this game. So we're now going to go over to Friday afternoon now at 5:10 p.m. at Blacktown International Sports Park. And I've decided to go with the Crows to take on the Dogs. Now, put these two together because both teams don't really have enough members in Blacktown or that New South Wales and ACT region, so well, Blacktown only holds like 10,000 people, so I reckon only 10,000 people probably get down to this game anyway, or less. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a small crowd. The ground has held games for premiership points before back in 2012 where the Giants got pumped by the Eagles by 81 points in round 3 of that season. And I do think it is a reasonable ground to hold Magic Round. Now I'm going to put a real controversial one in here, and this is going to be on the Friday night at 7:50 p.m. at the SCG, and this one is going to be between two big Victorian clubs in the Collingwood Magpies and the Hawthorn Hawks. And yes, it is very controversial to have two big Victorian clubs play at the SCG on a Friday night, but this could kickstart Magic Round fully. I do expect a big crowd for this game if this were to happen. For those that don't know, Collingwood do have a lot of supporters in Sydney, and Hawthorn, well, I don't really know too much, they possibly could, but this game could be massive. This could be at least 38,000 people that could turn up to this game. That is not even a lie. I would expect 30,000 people, or probably not, okay, 38 is probably a bit of a piss take. But yes, I do think 30,000 is reasonable for these two, and yeah, we'll definitely pack in a massive crowd at the SCG on the Friday night. So let's go over to the next day at Saturday afternoon footy at 1:45 p.m. at Henson Park. So we haven't seen any AFL games played at Henson Park ever. I don't think it's ever held a preseason game in its life, but we'll have a look on that later. And this one is going to be between the Gold Coast Suns and the Carlton Blues. Now, Henson Park can hold 30,000 people, and obviously Gold Coast and Carlton aren't going to hold a game at Sydney that's going to pack in 30,000 people. But I do feel like these two will play in a Saturday afternoon time slot in a Magic Round in New South Wales. Henson Park, probably not the best venue between these two, but we'll chuck it in anyway. Well, maybe even two bigger clubs that could play at Henson Park that could actually pack in 30,000 people. I'm going to be honest, I probably only expect like 8,000 people to turn up to this game at Henson Park, but it'd kind of be a waste to have a 30,000 capacity venue to only bring up 8,000 people. Now to the Saturday twilight at 4:40 p.m. and we're going to see the first game at North Sydney Oval ever for AFL Premiership points, and this one is going to be between the Essendon Bombers and the Freo Dockers on a twilight at 4:40. I've seen Essendon's fans from recent games at the Giants Stadium, the SCG, Manuka Oval, and also mainly Accor Stadium where they played most of their games in Sydney. And Freo too might have a couple hundred fans in Sydney, but I'm not too sure on that. But having these two play at North Sydney Oval, which can hold 16,000 people by the way, I think that's pretty reasonable. Now this next game that I've got on the Saturday night, this is going to be a massive blockbuster game at the SCG. 7:30 p.m. I think most people know where I'm going with this one, and I'm going to put the Sydney Swans to host the Richmond Tigers. This would be a massive blockbuster game for Magic Round if Sydney and Richmond played at the SCG on a Saturday night. And not just that, Sydney and Richmond have brought in massive crowds at the SCG as of late, because I think I've played most of their games at the SCG anyway. But again, for a special occasion like this would be a massive crowd. Well, as I said before, for a 38,000 thing for Hawthorn and Collingwood, this would definitely bring in 38,000 people. Once again, I do feel like the Richmond faithful will get down to the SCG and cheer them on, and obviously a majority of the crowd would be Sydney. And again, see another packed crowd at the SCG and also a great contest. I've realised as well, I have put 2 New South Wales teams as the home teams, which I know never happens in the AFL, but sometimes it does. But after this one, I'll just put it in anyway. Now to Sunday afternoon football at 1:10 PM, and I'll put this one in Drummoyne Oval. And these two, well, they've already played each other in a Magic Round before, and they're going to play in a Magic Round again. And this one is North Melbourne and Brisbane at Drummoyne Oval. And it kind of does make sense why they played them in the Adelaide Hills, because, well, it only holds 5,000 people, and I don't think North Melbourne and Brisbane would have many supporters in Adelaide anyway, or New South Wales. That's why I'm going to put it in Drummoyne. Drummoyne can hold 5,500 people, so it does make sense to put these two at that venue. And yeah, the closest Drummoyne's been to holding AFL games has been pre-season games, a couple, and also AFLW games have been played at the ground as well. And we're staying at Sunday afternoon footy for this next contest at 3:30 PM. We're going back to North Sydney Oval to see the Saints take on the Cats. So yes, another between 2 Victorian clubs at North Sydney Oval, but I don't think it'll be a massive crowd for this one. So yes, we'll put the Saints and the Cats back at North Sydney Oval. I do think that these two other supporters that support Victorian clubs in New South Wales, St Kilda and Geelong, would probably be at the lower end of things. So yeah, that's why I'll put the Saints and the Cats up against each other at North Sydney Oval. And now we go to the last game of the Magic Round in New South Wales and the ACT. And we're going back to the SCG at 6:30 PM to see the Demons take on the Power. Now, seeing as there were 6 games at the Adelaide Oval for Magic Round in South Australia, I do think we need to put a couple games for the SCG as well. I think there's only been 2 as of before this one, so this will be the 3rd one for the SCG. And the thing with the Magic Round is I do believe there should be more venues instead of just 6 games played at the Adelaide Oval, like as we saw for that one. There should be more venues for Magic Round, and yeah, more games should be played across different places. But back on track now, the reason I'm going to put these two together is because I do believe Melbourne are another one of those sides that have supporters pretty much everywhere around Australia. And playing the Power in Sydney too, I do believe the Power can also get a lot of people down to support them. And now this is probably a massive call, but I'm not even joking. I could see 30,000 people at this game as well. It is a massive call, but I do believe Magic Round, as pointless as it is, could get in a lot of people and could be a massive thing for the future of Australian rules football. So ladies and gentlemen, that does bring us to the end of today's video. If you did enjoy, please leave a like and subscribe, and comment down below what state I should cover next for Magic Round. I'm down to do any, and the one with the most likes I will cover next. But anyway guys, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See yous.